I'm here to tell you why do cities have to be different. I was born in Hong Kong, one of the world's most famous cities, and I've lived my life seeing how my city has changed over time. As an architect, I can really see a city being very beneficial, but also a city, as it was designed in the 20th century, now has many problems. We know cities are very, very dense, and everybody wants to be there. But in doing so, we are facing a lot of problems. In Hong Kong in particular, we have one very major key issue that really all cities face at the moment, which is that we are too centralized. And being too centralized means all of the resources are kept at the center of the city, making everybody travel difficult distances into the city. The land prices at the center of the city go straight up. And many of the people that cannot afford to live such expensive lives are pushed out to the edge of the city. This is something that is shared among so many cities around the world. And it's a problem that we need to address when we design cities of the future. Now, you might think a place like Hong Kong is a dream city. But let me tell you about the realities of our city right now. Most of us live in what we call concrete jungles. We live in anonymous apartment blocks facing each other, often without a lot of fresh air or natural light. And because it's become one of the world's most expensive cities, so many people have to live with their families in tiny, tiny apartments. Sometimes even in one space within the apartment, you have to share it with your family to eat, to sleep, to do your homework, all in one space. And then we know for sure that cities with millions of people in there consume huge amounts of energy and then generate a lot of waste, pollution. And we see that every day in the massive traffic jams going around the city, churning out this deadly gas that we have to breathe. But finally, and most sadly, even a modern rich city like Hong Kong, which was once upon a time the model for how we should design modern cities, has failed so many people in our city. We have a huge amount of homeless people, not able to live in buildings, but actually sleep on the streets. As an architect, I want to do something in my designs that would change this. So what is a simple, big idea that I can bring to city design? And that is to change the conditions that people live in. This is a photo from my home when I was a child. And I remember this feeling of being very claustrophobic, looking out of the window, never seeing a blue sky, not seeing any nature. And this was the view of our city. So the simple idea that we have to do is to avoid this and to design our cities differently. More than 50% of the world's population now live in cities. So to get it right is very, very important. And so the idea is to take the centralized city and make it into a new kind of design philosophy, which is what we call a distributed city. One where there is no one center, where there is no one problem-creating center that everybody get congested in, and distribute the wonderful resources of the city all around. Now, what will a future city that is distributed look like? Well, I can show you. In Saudi Arabia, we're designing a futuristic city for 10 million people called Eden. As you can see from this city, it doesn't look like a conventional city. There's no congested center. The whole city is like a network of megastructures that keep people safe, share resources, and in between these spaces, we have reservoirs for water, green energy from solar farms, public space for people to enjoy, as well as water reservoirs for generating enough drinking water. Cities are going to be facing massive problems. First of all, we have to solve the existing problems and use new kind of paradigms of design in order to take the concept of the city beyond the problems that we are facing. Also, another example is a city unlike any other. This is a city called the Parting of the Red Seas in Saudi Arabia that we're designing, where the city is created from the sea. And it is carved out of the sea using two giant sea walls that create land that is fertile from the seabed. But the most important thing that you can see here, the city's emphasis isn't on a clustered center, but one that is open and vast, where we can bring nature back into balance with all the population living in the city. So our priorities can change. So the visions that we have for these futuristic cities are ones that we have to be very bold, courageous, innovative, and visionary. Together with these bold ideas, we can create a new urbanism that creates better lives for people in the cities of the future. Thank you very much.